Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, and I mean massive, paradigm shift in how we build AI software. Specifically, we're talking about entering what we call net new territory. Imagine you're building an AI customer support agent for a bespoke furniture company. The rules just aren't written yet, right? The exact edge cases, like say what happens when a customer requests a totally custom wood finish halfway through an order, are completely unknown. Look, if you're building something where the behavior is entirely unsettled, where you don't have decision tables or clear fixtures in place, the old rules of building simply do not apply. In fact, if you follow them, it's pretty much a guaranteed recipe for disaster. I am so pumped to walk you through this because this new methodology, called the prototype loop, is going to literally save you from countless hours of pure technical debt. The prototype's output is the spec, not the code. So the crucial point is this single principle completely flips our standard developer habits right on their head. Normally, we think of a prototype as a rough draft of the final application. We kind of treat it as the foundation of the house we're about to build. But here, the prototype is merely a disposable instrument. Its only job, its literal reason for existing, is to force you to make decisions you didn't even know you needed to make. We're using these throwaway builds to settle a rigorous specification, absolutely not to write production code. Which brings up a rather painful question for a lot of us. Are you maintaining unspec'd code forever? We've all lived this exact nightmare scenario. You build a quick prototype, the demo happens to just miraculously work, your stakeholders see it, and boom, suddenly that flimsy duct-taped throwaway build quietly becomes your actual real-world codebase. Because you went into this without a binding spec and without clear fixtures, you're now permanently trapped maintaining code that was essentially hallucinated by an AI builder on a random Tuesday afternoon. We absolutely have to stop doing this. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's the exact roadmap we'll use to fix this mess. We'll hit the true purpose of a prototype, outline the strict rules of day zero, execute the loop, lock in a decision ledger, probe for unseen flaws, and finally graduate to a clean build. Think of this as a strict, linear journey from start to finish. We're moving from total ambiguity on day zero with a bare-bones skeleton spec, cycling through the prototype loop to aggressively gather decisions, hitting that graduation milestone once our spec is totally rock solid, and finally, leaving the prototype completely behind for a separate clean room build. It's a highly structured path that takes you from a vague idea straight to an ironclad specification. Section 1, the true purpose of prototyping, and the skeleton spec. Let's transition right into our first major mindset shift here. What should prototyping actually accomplish when your product's behavior is completely up in the air? I need to give you a really stern warning right out of the gate. You must never, ever treat a prototype as version 0.1 of your product. That single framing error, that's what causes every downstream failure. In the old way, treating it as version 0.1 lets real customer data creep in and expectations get permanently set. But in this new way, the prototype is purely a disposable instrument designed to surface the decisions you simply haven't made yet. A working demo is just a happy little side effect of this process, not the goal. It's like taking a new car design to a crash test facility. You aren't trying to drive that car home. You're trying to see exactly where the metal bends and breaks under pressure. Now, what's really interesting here is this total inversion of quality. A prototype that runs beautifully but taught you absolutely nothing, that's actually a complete failure. You just wasted your time. On the flip side, if your prototype breaks in some fascinating way on day 2, like maybe it reveals your AI customer support bot gets endlessly confused when a user tries to change their shipping address after the invoice is generated, that is a massive triumph. You just bought yourself vital system knowledge for the cheap cost of a throwaway build. Section 2, Day 0 and the skeleton spec. So how do we actually kick this off? Let's talk about the actionable steps that absolutely must happen before you even send your very first prompt to an AI builder. You have to write down these 4 cheap early constraints to stop the prototype from just sprawling out of control. First, define its identity and scale ceiling. Is this furniture bot meant to handle 50 beta testers a week or 50,000 global transactions a second? The architecture completely changes based on your answer. Second, list your known invariants. For example, if you say, history is append only, it means database records can never be deleted or overwritten, only added to. Everything else is left completely open. Third, create an out-of-scope list. What is this deliberately not doing? Maybe this bot will absolutely never ever process credit card refunds. And fourth, start a provisional glossary. Vocabulary drift literally starts on day 1, folks. Defining your terms immediately ensures you and the builder are speaking the exact same language before you lock it all into a super prompt. Section 3. executing the prototype loop. With those strict day zero boundaries set, we introduce the core engine of this entire methodology. A single session usually consists of running through this exact cycle 1 to 3 times. First up, you prompt vaguely on purpose. You actually want the builder to fill in the gaps. Give the AI room to make assumptions about how to handle that custom wood order. But, and this is a huge but, you must include the decision visibility clause. You explicitly tell the AI, list every design decision you made that I didn't specify. Without this clause, the builder's hidden silent choices just become your spec by sheer inertia. Next, you probe with specific real-world scenarios. Third, you react to the decisions the AI made. Fourth, you capture the results immediately. And fifth, you feed those recorded decisions forward. That means taking what you just learned, locking it into the next prompt, and making the AI build the next iteration with those newly discovered, tighter constraints. Let's really clarify that reaction phase, because it's super important. When you look at what the AI built and say, no, it shouldn't cancel the order, it should do X, you have just manufactured a ratified decision. Or if you look at an AI default and say, that's actually exactly right, you're actively adopting it. That is also a ratified decision. But here is the critical warning. Silence is not ratification. You cannot accept defaults you simply didn't notice. You have to actively review all of the AI's visible choices. Section 4, the decision ledger deliverable. Okay, so all these reactions have to go somewhere, right? Which transitions us perfectly to the hero object of our story. This is the ultimate tangible deliverable of this whole prototyping process. Meet the decision ledger. It's just one flat file that lives right in your repo from day zero, capturing every single ratified and provisional decision. And listen to me, you absolutely must capture these decisions at the moment of your reaction. Do not wait to write this up on a Friday afternoon. Seriously, we've all tried to scratch that. We've all failed to remember why we built a specific feature a week later, and it is a total nightmare. A decision recalled 3 days later loses the exact context that makes it valuable, the rationale and the rejected alternative. When you document a decision in this ledger, you're tracking the specific trigger and, crucially, the rejected alternative. And this brilliantly illustrates why that's so powerful. By explicitly documenting that you rejected, say, a mutable value column, which is just a database cell that overwrites old data and permanently destroys the previous state of a customer's order because it loses history, you have just created a permanent litigation record. This completely stops future cleanroom builders from reopening old arguments, and it will save your team endless frustration down the line. Section 5, probing for unseen decisions. Now, to get those juicy decisions onto your ledger in the first place, you have to aggressively test the system. Do not just tour the happy path. A basic demo is always going to work. We need to actively probe for unseen flaws. You want to walk workflows that deliberately stress the system structure. Correct a stored value. Did the identity of the customer's order change entirely? Check life cycle boundaries. What happens at the exact instant a 30-day return window expires? Does the bot still offer a refund? Make 2 users disagree on a shared document. Like, imagine a husband and wife fighting over a custom fabric choice at the exact same time. Did the system intuitively pick a winner? Try to perform actions while logged in as the wrong authority role, like a regular user trying to prove a massive discount. Check the vocabulary the builder used. And finally, test non-happy states, like an empty shopping cart or a totally failed payment extraction. You are actively trying to break the assumptions of the data model. And while you're probing, pay really close attention to the features the AI adds that you never even requested, like some arbitrary scoring system or a full-blown admin panel. We face a strict binary reality here in AI development. Every unasked feature is either a real requirement you simply hadn't articulated yet, or it's a future non-goal temptation that you need to explicitly ban. There is absolutely no third category. You must make a choice and put it on the ledger. Section 6, Graduation and Disposability Discipline. Eventually, you'll extract all the decisions you need. So how do we effectively end the loop? It all comes down to disposability discipline, ensuring this build stays visibly disposable from start to finish. There are some highly dangerous anti-patterns you have to avoid at this stage. When stakeholders see a working demo and ask that dreaded question, hey, can we just ship this before Black Friday? You do not say yes. Instead, you answer directly with the ledger. You say, here are the 19 decisions this prototype exists to produce. 6 are still provisional. You must use synthetic data only, timeboxer sessions, and capture decisions live. And please, never try to reverse engineer a spec from a prototype's behavior weeks later. That's called spec by archaeology, where you are literally digging through your own throwaway code trying to figure out what the heck it's actually doing. You must stop when it stops raising questions. If consecutive cycles add nothing new to the ledger, and your decision tables survive 2 full sessions completely unchanged, any further building is pure promotion risk. Just stop, even if the prototype is almost usable. You graduate to the real build on hard evidence, meaning absolutely 0 provisional decisions are left on your ledger, not just because the vibes feel good. You need hard, undeniable evidence. Now, I want you to burn this number into your memory. 0. This represents the exact amount of prototype code scheduled to migrate into your real clean room build. Literally 0. Never migrate prototype code into the real build. You are mining the prototype purely for its decisions, the ledger, the fixtures, the failure modes. The second that throwaway code crosses over, you inherit every single hidden AI default that you didn't audit. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. Are you ready to finally throw your next prototype away? By utilizing the prototype loop, you're no longer accidentally creating massive technical debt, you're deliberately building disposable instruments that manufacture ironclad specifications. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and honestly, I cannot wait to see how you build smarter, spec-first AI software.